Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is GGF bringing you episode 69 of Let's Try Spellforce 3 Reforced. Bong bong, mashallah. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm ready to check out some more Spellforce with me. We seem to be in the end game. I'm not sure. I've mentioned this a few times. I don't know if we're close to the end or what. I don't really know what's going on. It's a lot. We fought back some small war groups. Who were attacking Mollendeer, and now everybody has an exclamation point and question mark, as you can see. So we have to talk with. Let's see. This is Iria. Let's talk. She has an exclamation point for some reason. So let's start with her.
Interesting. You need?
The conversation must be started by Matthew. Oh.
Corporal? Need anything?
I would still like to know why you stayed with us.
You're insistent, you know that? But to be honest, I've been thinking about that since you asked me.
Found an answer?
2 answers, actually. First one, you know already. I'm a fugitive. And if the Purity or Nortander got their hands on me again, it wouldn't have ended well for me.
I understand. What's the second answer?
Well, that one's hard to put into words. You know, there's one thing I like about you, Tahar. Despite all you've been through, you still fight. You're trying to make a difference one way or the other. So many in your position would have given up long ago, but you keep on searching, as the Harbinger said back in Greykeep. And I respect that. More so, I can relate to it.
How?
Well, there's just so much shit going on in the world, and yet so many people just don't care. They try to use the chaos to their advantage or just look away. There were and still are times when I found this hard to bear. It was also one of the reasons I spent so many years on the road. Away from the wars, the intrigues, the suffering, and all those bloody idiots. Out there, it's just different. And sometimes I wonder if the trees maybe know more about life than we ever did. They grow, they live, they die. If we'd managed to do just that instead of killing one another in the meantime,
Right.
this world would be another place.
But it's not that bad, is it? Yes, there is suffering, but there's also beauty.
Yeah.
See? That's what I like about you. You've been through so much more than me, yet you somehow managed to still see the upside of things.
So you're here because you want to change things. Is that what you're saying?
Change? No. I don't see how this world could or ever will be changed. But at least we do something. And, you know, there was a time when I'd forgotten that this was even an option. You reminded me of that. And that's why I'm following you.
Cool.
Now, please don't look at me like that. You wanted the answer, and that was my best shot at it. Now, let's get back to less serious topics, shall we?
You never told me why you fled Finan Mir.
Fair enough. You've given me little reason to distrust you, so... Oh well. Let's just get this over with.
All right.
I already told you about my father. How to him, I had always been more of an asset. Well, after my father died, I decided to become a novice.
A novice?
Someone aspiring to be a priest of Elen. I don't know why I did it. It was something my father had always considered a backup plan if an arranged marriage wouldn't work out. Part of it was probably because obeying my father was all I knew at that time.
What does life as a priest of Elen look like?
Boring. Though not as boring as a Nortander monk's life. You are free to have family and to indulge in the earthly pleasures. Still, your life is devoted to worship. And for a priest of Elen, that means healing the sick and preserving Elen's greatest gift, nature.
Was it difficult to receive the novitiate?
Not for me. First of all, I was a good candidate. I was still very young, not even in my 30s. And I already knew a great deal about magic and healing. Secondly, I was, after all, pure blood. That helped as well.
But something happened.
Yes. In my first year, I fell in love. That crazy, hot-blooded, head-over-the-heels kind of love that the bards all sing about. The boy felt the same way, and for the next year it was, well, it was perfect. It was the two of us against the world. Maybe you know that feeling.
And the priests didn't mind?
Priestesses. Only women are allowed to teach. And no, they didn't. Elves consider love to be a blessing of Ellen. Forbidding it would be near absurd. I have no clue where your monks got that idea from. Though, of course, that boy and I tried to, restrain ourselves when the situation demanded it.
What was his name?
Doesn't matter.
And I guess your romance didn't end well.
You guess right. But it was more than that. You know, I told you how I always felt estranged around other people. I knew how to put on a smile, how to make myself fit in, but it was always fake. Shallow. With him, it was different. Dramatic as it may sound, I thought I had finally found someone who understood me. Then there was the novitiate. Despite all the time I sunk into doing the crazy things lovers often do, I never failed as a student. Or, no, let's put it another way. I was the best, in every aspect.
Which didn't sit well with some people.
No. And eventually, they made sure I felt it. They excluded me from everything, stared at me when I walked by. It hurt, yes, but I convinced myself it didn't. I've always been good at that.
But what happened?
My lover's friends started manipulating him, telling him that I only saw him as my pet, that he was a failure, and that I only kept him around to feel good about myself.
Wow.
That's toxic.
It was. And their seeds met fertile ground. You see, we novices all knew that only 4 out of 20 will be granted priesthood at the end of our training. And being a failed novice leaves you with a mark you'll keep for the rest of your life. It all looked peaceful on the surface, but beneath that it was an arena. And these other novices, they made sure my friend became aware of that fact. To him, I started being a rival as well. And do you want to know the biggest joke of it all? I didn't see it. The idea that, I don't know, that he would listen to them. That he would ever reach a point where he'd put what we had below his hurt pride and his fears. It never crossed my mind.
So what happened?
Well, he knew I was curious by nature, so one night when we were in bed together, he suddenly asked me if I wanted to go on an adventure. Of course I said yes. So we snuck out into the cloister's courtyard. It was beautiful. The night was cloudless, and the old oak, our cloister shrine, had just begun to bloom. We made our way to the library building, but of course the door was locked. Out of nowhere, he pulled a key, grinning at me, and opened it. It was insane. As you can imagine, priests aren't known for being lenient towards these kinds of trespassings. We were risking our novitiate, and I didn't even know the reason, but I liked it. And we were doing it together, weren't we? It was exciting. He took my hand and we went to the High Priestess's office. We opened the door and went inside, and there he finally told me what we were here for, to open the grimoire, the High Priestess's spellbook.
Whatever that is, it sounds like that was a terribly bad idea.
It was. It was a stupid idea. And if I hadn't been so blind, so bloody naive, I should have seen it by then. But I didn't.
What did he ask you to do?
To open it and try to read one of the spells. He teased me. Told me that I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, saying it like that. It sounds so bloody stupid, doesn't it? But again, I was too blind. I laughed. I wanted to impress him, so I gave him a kiss. Opened the page and started saying the words. Long story short, I lost control. The spell was too much for me to handle and it misfired. One moment I was staring at the pages, the next one, the library was aflame and my lover was gone.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I was the one too stupid to see it coming.
How far did that fire spread?
Not far. It was put out before it could do real damage. But, of course, that was the end of novitiate. I was thrown into the cell of shame and sentenced to 12 years of polishing prayer banks and cleaning floors in the shrine.
Wow.
Did you try to tell the priestesses the whole story?
No, I just sat there and smiled. Of course I did. But my love had all his friends to back him up. To them, it wasn't even a trial. It was a feast.
Huh.
Your lover, did he regret it?
I think so. The only bloody gratification I ever got from this. But even if he would have confessed and begged me to take him back, I couldn't have. All that connection, that trust, it was gone. Worse, it was tainted.
But you never did polish those prayer banks, am I right?
No. In the night after the trial, they still let me sleep in my chamber. Thoughtlessness, I suppose, or maybe they simply didn't care. I got my things, left, and never came back. So,
wow.
Here it is, the whole truth.
Interesting.
No dark secrets, no assassinations, no necromantic rituals. Just a plain old broken heart.
Oh.
Compared with all that shit you had to go through, it almost sounds ludicrous.
It doesn't. Being betrayed by someone you trust often hits the hardest.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't get it. How could he give all that up? I mean, there was something between us, you know? Something rare, something precious. But no, he threw it all away for his fucking vanity. But in a way, it's just a continuation of what I've always known. Wherever I am, I'm a stranger. People don't like me, and I don't like them.
For what it's worth, I'm glad our paths crossed.
Yeah, me too, Corporal. Me too. I'd like some space now. I hope you don't mind.
New skill.
Let's talk later.
Reborn. We should have saved a point, because if we go to area, and come here, reborn, become revived when you die, can only be triggered once every 120 seconds. Oh, we really should have saved a point for that. We have an attribute point. And a little bit of lag for some reason. Having to do with OBS, I think. Let's use these. Or human iron mine, cost reduction, elven ballista. Can we use these top plates? No. Discolored leather. Sell that. Part of Nortender padding. Okay. So that's one exclamation point down. There's going to be a lot of chatting and dialogue this episode, I think. Let's look at the next exclamation point. Come over here. We've got Undergast.
What do you require?
And a merchant we can maybe check out. And there's Angar, our latest party member. Angar,
Yes?
Let me take a look at your designs.
Of course. Take all the time you need.
Daggers, swords, everything for the wary traveler.
Human Watchtower cost reduction. Yeah, I don't know about that yet.
May Tiara bless your path.
Come up here.
Let's see.
Tandai Tahar. Come to trade?
Yeah, we need health potions. We only have 4 left, so let's go. Let's get like 30 of them for 1260. Boom,
Pleasure
boom.
doing business with you.
All right.
Come
why
again.
not?
Tahar, it is good to see that you have recovered. This place and these people lack guidance without you.
They did?
Yes, the Lord Marshal tried to assume control, but as you might have expected, he did not have everybody's support. I was even fearing an internal power struggle, and I'm glad it did not come to that. I must say, Tahar, your mother, she is remarkable. I have always wondered what the Shapers look like, and now I do. It is fascinating, though I suppose this is a difficult topic for you. Forgive me if my words were inappropriate.
It's all right.
Good. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Okay, so he's got something. Probably unlocking a
what's the plan
skill.
here for?
Yes? What is it?
Yep.
So, Undergast, when you told me about your split with Lena, I got the feeling that you were more than just colleagues.
You are asking if we were in love. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Then let me start by telling you that the term love is undefined and that theories about it conflict one another. I have read a lot of books on it, and I've studied the poems, and I've come to the conclusion that it is ultimately a primitive, carnal urge that people have come to romanticize for the emotions that come with it. I, myself, never felt it, and maybe that was because I saw the underlying mechanisms. I always found it strange how people overreact so strongly to such a simple emotion, and maybe that very fact stopped me from being able to feel these emotions at all.
Well, what are the underlying mechanisms?
The desire to reproduce with a fitting mate. In fact, the orcs have a very dry, rational view on this process, but for some reason humans, dwarves, and elves do not.
Love is more than just that.
Well, most people would agree with you, and I'm certain that in your subjective experience it is.
So, what you're saying is that you were never able to feel love, but then Lena came along and you did.
No, it was not that simple. What stood out in our relationship was that we connected. I've never felt that before. You see, Tahar, to me, the bonds people have always felt peculiar, and I am not like Yana. Her mind simply does not have the ability to feel these bonds anymore. She had them once, but then she lost them, as she became a dreamweaver. My brain is capable of feeling these things, but I am unable to connect with the outside world. I only have my own mind as a frame of reference. For example, when a person tells you yes, whereas he or she means no, you might be able to feel this discrepancy because you are able to empathize with her. I can't. To me, this person's distress would make no sense whatsoever. But then there was Lena. For some bizarre reason, she understood me and I understood her. Or at least, I thought that I did. It was as if this barrier, this shell that separates my mind from others, was pervious to her emotions. I know how strange it sounds, and I also have no explanation for why this was, yet it changed me. All at once, I felt connected. Do you know this feeling, Tahar? You have traveled with these people for quite some time now. Is there anyone you were, well, fond of?
Sure.
Well, yes, there is.
I see. Then you probably know how distracting such a feeling can be. To be honest, when I first became aware of that bond between Lena and me, I was horrified. I could not focus anymore. When I sat down to write my studies, I realized after hours that none of what I had written made sense at all.
Your inability to relate to others, is it innate?
Yes. If it were not, I might have considered my sudden connection to Lena as a symbol of overcoming. But it was not. Even though I felt connected to Lena, I was still unable to feel the same way towards others. This is what deeply confused me.
What did Lena make of all that?
Nothing. Unlike me, she did not try to analyze, to understand its origin. At the same time, she did not discourage me from pondering. I believe this is what made our relationship unique. Complete acceptance. She did not try to tell me how I should behave or feel, and neither did I.
Nice.
Even when she decided to leave the guild and I decided to stay behind, we both accepted each other's decisions.
Huh.
Am I right to assume that your relationship ended with your disagreement over the Creators Guild abandoning its neutrality?
No, you misunderstand. We never had a relationship. Although the feelings were mutual and we, well, acted on them, we never felt the need to bind ourselves to some close-minded societal construct. But yes, you are correct. It was the disagreement that broke our bond. Quietly, she left and never returned again.
Do you feel, I don't know, betrayed?
Betrayed? No. By betrayal, people usually mean when someone behaves contrary to what they agreed on, or more often than not, as they would like that person to behave. I always found the word to be very misleading. Desires, wishes, and urges are natural things, and I always found the usage of such heavily judgmental words to be very childish.
Huh.
Lena did what she thought was right, and so did I. I have not and will never blame her for that.
What, so you didn't even argue? I have a hard time imagining that.
As I said, acceptance of one another's nature and decisions was a pivotal element in our interactions. Though I did notice that my unwillingness to follow her on her mission caused her more emotional distress than she usually would have felt. You see, if there ever was disharmony between us, it was when she tried to encourage me to embrace the world, as she put it. She told me that both I as a person and my studies would benefit from more first-hand experience.
Such as...
Well, anything. Traveling, studying the Tsarlan-Thep ruins first-handed, even visiting the city of Everlight every once in a while. She seemed to think that it could help me get a better understanding of the world. But again, she never tried to force me. I could tell that my unwillingness upset her, but like always, she showed acceptance.
Huh.
How do you feel about this?
That is a good question. I still think about her, almost every day. But the more time passes, the more this entire episode starts to feel like a vague, distant dream, the way an elder must feel about youth. I do not know how I would feel if I ever saw her again.
I can imagine.
Interesting.
Well, thank you for trusting me with this, Undergast.
You have nothing to thank me for. If this conversation helped you get a better picture of me, I'm glad we had it. But there is one more thing I would like to ask you, Tahar.
Interesting character.
Do you have regrets? Do you ever feel as if you could and should have acted differently than you did act?
No.
No.
Impressive. You see, I've never told you this, but I find your resilience to be remarkable.
How so?
Well, it is no secret that you have endured a lot of pain, especially your early childhood must have made a mark on your psyche. But still, you did not give up.
Well, it wasn't always easy.
Of course not. Either way, I think we have spent enough time talking. We should get back to the tasks at hand.
We should. So long, Undergast.
Interesting character. I don't think his special ability unlocked, though. There's no upgrade for it. Nope, it's still locked. Can we talk to him more, maybe?
Corporal?
Yes? What is it?
Goodbye.
Alright, that's another exclamation point down, but maybe we didn't say the right things. I don't know. Let's come check down here.
Yes?
Oh, we're going to be talking to Rowan.
Yes?
So, is it true? Sentenzer is dead?
He gave me no choice.
Sounds just like him. A sad man he was. Always tried to do the right thing, and always failed so miserably. Either way. Anything else you need?
Yep. Oh,
I want to buy
Wayfarers.
some better equipment for the Wayfarers.
Music to my ears. What did he have in mind?
The Wayfarers. Human catapult, human keeper, human scout, human medic. Different helmets. Different shields. Some rare but not epic equipment. Swift cleaver. Guarding battle staff. Yada yada. Okay, so nothing too major there, but let's check out the next exclamation point in Rowan.
Careful.
Tahar, what is it?
You knew about my mother, didn't you?
You let him smoke.
That's what you hinted at back at the forge.
Hope you guys are
before we set
enjoying
out to the eye.
the lore.
The answer is yes
The dialogue.
and no. I had suspicions. Let us call it that. But they weren't enough to go on, and I had no idea your mother was connected to the Bloodburn.
Why didn't you tell me?
That I believe you might be the result of your father's experiments? That you're the offspring of some long-dead, forgotten race? Tell me, Tahar, what for? I mean, at best, you wouldn't have believed me. And at worst, it would have cost you your sanity. So no, I don't think I should have told you. I didn't know if these suspicions had any substance at all. And I would have been at great risk, especially back then when you were still part of the rebellion.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore, does it?
No. And I didn't get a chance to say this yet, but
We got his skill.
I'm glad you made it, Tahar. We need you in this.
Huh. Let's check out Rowan's new ability. Next level combat opportunities regenerate focus when you kill an enemy. Nice. Cast on self. Receive 5 focus after killing an enemy. Pretty interesting. So that was a quick
Something
one.
you need?
We've got question marks now. Up here is a question mark. Oh, look at that sword. That's awesome. Angar. And down here, I think it's Gore that wanted to talk to us.
Yes.
So let's come down here and talk to Gore first. Wait, that's Gore.
Yes?
I don't know if we have to pick a race and use their units for the battle.
So you made it after all. Not bad.
You didn't think I would?
No. That sleep you were in. I didn't feel that there was any life left in you. But then again, you always were damn hard to kill to begin with. That new energy inside you, though, that's a different story.
So you can feel it?
That's like standing in front of a bonfire and being asked if you can feel the heat. Yes, Tahar, I can. Anyway, in case you're here to ask, we're staying.
So, you'll help me fight the Purity?
You make it sound as though this thing is somehow your responsibility. It isn't. That fanatic, with his idiotic stories of the All-Father's return, is out for all of us. Especially the orcs, or the other members of the dark races. So yeah, the Fire Wielders will stay.
That's good news. Thanks, Gore.
Don't mention it. Anything else?
Now let's talk to
What do
Ayana.
you need? Now
Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
About you being an assassin. You said that you might be willing to tell me more about that at another time. How about now?
I'm still not certain. The question really is, do you want to know? It might change something.
Such as?
Your perception of me. It is your choice.
Well, I wouldn't have asked otherwise. Tell me.
All right. Where should I begin? Do you remember what I told you about that man who bought me from the Greyfell Bazaar? My owner? I also told you that after an incident, he discovered my talents and made me an assassin.
I remember. But what does that have to do with your morality?
It's complicated. The incident took place at a festivity. A lot of highly influential people were there, servants of the crown, wealthy merchants, nobles. My master knew all of Greyfell's elites. As always, at these festivities, it was my and the other slaves' responsibility to ensure the guests' well-being. It must have been close to midnight when a man took me into his chambers. I'd learned to play along years ago, because resisting only made it worse. This time, however, was different. For some reason, that man wanted me to tell him that I loved him. I did, but he kept on telling me that I should say it like I really mean it. When I couldn't, he got angrier and started choking me. I had almost lost consciousness when I felt something break. I don't know how else to put it. It was as if my mind simply cracked open, like a crystal ball smashed against a mirror. And all of a sudden, that man and I weren't separate entities anymore.
I don't follow.
My magic, my dreamweavery, that's when it broke free. You probably don't know this, but the only way to become a dreamweaver is by shattering your mind.
Wow.
You are opening yourself to the thoughts and emotions of others, but you lose your own.
Wait, Dreamweavers don't feel and think?
No, we do. But it's differently than normal people. Me. The Iana you're talking with is the result of long work and studying of human behavior. I know how to blend in, to seem like I'm just like you. But the world inside my head is an entirely different one. Again, it is almost impossible to put into words if you're not a dreamweaver yourself.
What happened to the man?
I killed him.
Wow.
It wasn't a conscious choice, looking back. I even think that shattering my mind was My body's way of ensuring survival. I closed my eyes, reached out for the man's mind, and just crushed it. The man gasped, lost balance, and fell right off the bed. He wasn't dead yet, but unable to move. Like a puppet rid of its strings. At first I was disoriented. But then I felt it, for the first time. The urge.
To kill him?
Yes. To massacre him. Hear his screams.
Wow.
To see his life taken by my hand. I grabbed a lantern that was standing on a bedside table and knelt over him, and... well, you can picture the rest. To get back to your original question, that urge, it stuck with me. I think that the moment when my mind shattered and I became a dreamweaver was what unlocked it. Ever since then, I've found violence and bloodshed to be ecstatic, erotic even.
Yikes.
And when I kill someone, like I killed that man, I feel alive. Actually, it's one of the few times I am capable of feeling anything at all.
And this is why you became an assassin?
Yes. My master introduced me into the craft. Probably because he knew that my dreamweavery had changed me. I wasn't just a slave child anymore. I was a weapon now. More than that, even. I needed what these new tasks my master sent me on provided me with. It had become a basic need of mine. Of course, I briefly considered changing my profession after my master had his accident. But I didn't. Killing is something I need. As much as a child needs the love of his mother. If I don't feed my urge, I will die.
Wow.
Not physically, but mentally. I just know this.
Pretty interesting characters and lore and stuff here. It's really interesting.
But is there no way to cure you? To return your mind to its original state?
No, there isn't.
Well, it was definitely not what I was expecting.
It's
I
true.
can imagine.
That's a lot to take in.
I know. Now tell me, Tahar. Do you regret asking me this question? Knowing all this, do you think I'm a monster?
You're not.
Really? That's unexpected. Anyway, I would like some time for myself now. I hope you understand.
Okay. But she's still got a mark over her head.
Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
I'd like to know more about your friend, the one you lost to the bloodburn.
I'm not sure what there is to say. She was my friend, and the bloodburn took her. Hence, I joined you. That is all there is to say.
You said you know where we can find more allies.
Yes. I'll be brief. While you were asleep, an elven messenger came by. Varden Merilith, one of the Moorhere scryers from Leafshade, sent him.
Merilith? What did he want?
Only that he needed your help. They, that is, he and a couple of his followers, seem to be somewhere deep in the Leafshade jungle, near the Halayish ruins.
The old Hibernian city. But what do they want there? That's dangerous.
I don't know, Tahar. We will need to find out.
So interesting new quests as well.
All right. We might look into this.
We should. Is there anything else you wish to discuss, Tahar?
Okay. Now, other locations. Travel to the Aliash ruins and talk to Varden. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's talk to Gore. Very cool. Cool stuff.
Regarding this rain you told me about, I
want to talk about it. I'm not supposed to, but I don't know. I trust you, Tahar. And I've kept silent about this for far too long. Zarek's fangs, this is so silly. Feel like a damn child.
I'm not forcing you.
Right. Where do I start? Before becoming a shaman, every disciple has to go through a trial. The Iron Trial, as it's called. I told you that I did most of my training in solitude, didn't I? That wasn't true. 5 years after I entered disciplehood, another orc was accepted by my elder. A female named Rain. She was 2 years younger than me.
I thought only male orcs can be gifted.
No. It's just that for female orcs, it's even rarer to have magic. Which is why there are close to no female shamans.
How did you get along?
Well, at first, I was a complete dick to her. I was jealous and feared for my position. However, she never took offense by it. She fired back at me when I got childish, but at the same time never lowered herself to my level. As the years went by, we became friends. And no, there was no courting or mating involved, if that's what you're thinking. She was more like a sister to me, and one who, unlike my true kin, understood me. Those years in the Orcish steppes, they were special. We spent days, weeks out in the wild, doing whatever our elder tasked us with. And though it was hard, there was beauty in that. We just had this connection between us, this trust.
Sounds like friendship to me.
Yeah, friendship. I never had a connection like that again, and I rarely talk about it. The one time I did, the orc I told it to laughed right in my face. He thought it was ludicrous, a male spending time with a female who wasn't his mate. Stopped laughing when I broke his nose.
But something happened, am I right?
Yeah, the trial did. The sacred test every disciple has to take before he or she can become a shaman. Our elder sent us both at the same time, which was unusual. But of course I was relieved. There was plenty of talk about the Iron Trial, and I was scared.
What did you know about the trial?
Rumors. Shamans are forbidden to talk about it. But it was known that only half of those who take it return at all.
How did Rain feel about it?
Same as I. Believe me, Tahar, only a fool would have entered into the trial with a smug smile on his face. We knew what was ahead of us.
So what happened?
Zarek's fangs. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I'm breaking my oath.
For what it's worth, I'll keep silent about it, I promise.
I know you will, Tahar. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We weren't told much about the trial. Only that we'd have to venture to a cave, far up in Barger Gore. They also didn't tell us how to get there. Only that Zarek would guide us. And he did. After a week of traveling, we found it. It was a strange place, Tahar. I saw that right from the beginning. The entrance looked like a mouth, the rocks surrounding it like the bones of an old forgotten beast, and the stalagmites like hundreds of teeth. But of course, we went in. We had to.
What did you find?
A giant hall. It was as mesmerizing as it was unsettling. There were murals and carvings all over the cave walls. Old glyphs that I'd never seen before.
Shaper glyphs, maybe?
No, not Shaper. They looked as if the Guardians themselves had carved them into the rock.
Interesting. What else was there?
Nothing. That's what baffled me. Apart from those murals, the hall was completely empty. And for some reason, the ground in that hall was completely smooth, like polished stone. There were braziers, one in each corner of the hall, and they were burning brightly. Rain was as confused as I was.
Right.
But nonetheless, we entered the hall. And that's when the trouble began. Because all of a sudden, the exit was gone. No magical noise, nothing. Just in that moment when we looked the wrong direction, it disappeared. And instead of it, we were looking at another wall.
How is that even possible? Maybe it was an illusion.
That was our first thought too, but it wasn't. That new wall was as solid as every other rock in that hall.
Strange. What did you do?
Well, after we calmed down a little, we assessed our situation. We figured that this was the Iron Trial, and that it was our task to find another exit. So we started looking. But it was pointless. There was nothing. We couldn't even hear the wind anymore. For the next 14 days, we were trapped. We couldn't make that wall disappear, and no matter how long we studied the glyphs, how long we prayed, nothing happened. On the 5th day, our provisions had come to an end, save for half a skin of water and a handful of jerky. On the 8th day, it was all gone.
Blazes. How did you survive?
I'm getting there. As you can imagine, the thirst was the worst. It drove us mad, and we searched every corner of that goddamn hall for just a drop of water. Not that we hadn't looked before, but as you know, hope dies last. Have you ever had thirst, Tahar? Real thirst?
Yes.
Then you know what it feels like. On the 11th day, Rain and I were puking our guts out. Our skin had literally started to crack, and I felt as if I was burning from within. On the 12th day, we were only an inch from death. That's when the dream came.
A dream?
A dream.
A shared dream. Almost like a vision. We were still in that hall, Rain and I, but we were out of our bodies, floating like spirits. At first I thought we had died. Then I saw what was different. The floor was full of blood, and that blood was burning. The murals and glyphs had started moving, twisting, like shadows dancing on a wall. That's when I first understood what they were depicting. For some reason in the real world, I'd never been able to.
What did they depict?
It showed what was expected from us, what we had to do to get out. Sorry this isn't easy. I've dreamed about those weeks ever since. But telling someone, it feels bizarre. Zarek demanded a fight. Either one of us died by the hands of the other, or we would die there together.
Wow.
The Iron Trial. We were never both meant to pass.
Truth be told, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And it shouldn't have surprised me either. But for some reason, I don't know. He had known Tahar, our elder, our master. He had known that it would come to this. Yet he still decided to send the two of us out at once.
So you fought each other?
No. Trial or not, I would have rather died than done that.
Wow.
And that's precisely what I told Rain. A god that demands a man to kill his own sister is not a god that deserves worship by anyone. But Rain wouldn't have it. She claimed that if both of us died, both of our lives would be wasted for nothing. I got angry and asked her if she meant that she wanted to fight me. She said no.
I don't understand.
She wanted me to kill her.
Wow.
She told me that she was already too weak to make it down the mountain anyway, but that I could still make it. Believe me, Tahar, if there had been any strength left in me, I would have punched her just for suggesting it.
Huh.
Did you ever consider sacrificing yourself?
No. I know it makes me sound like a coward, and maybe that was part of the reason why I didn't. But the sane part of my mind still believed that there had to be another way. That all this was just some cruel joke, and the cave we had found maybe wasn't Zarek's after all.
Huh.
And yet, you're here.
I am. I should have known before she even did it. She always had to have it her way, no matter the price. It happened when I was asleep. She took my dagger from its sheath, put it into my hand, and drove it through her throat without hesitation.
Wow.
When I opened my eyes, her blood was already all over my face.
Wow.
And as if Zarek had been watching all along, the wall disappeared.
Huh.
No noise. Just like that. The wind was back, and it was raining outside. The first time in months. I'd like to think that she saw it before she died.
Did you make the descent?
I did. There were berries in a mountain goat that had been hit by a rock slide, right next to the exit. It was so absurd I almost had to laugh. When I got back to the Elder's shack, I screamed at him, then broke down and started to cry. He just listened. In the end, he told me that we had both known what had been at stake. Yet we agreed. Choice and consequence. He made me a shaman the next day.
Wow.
Do you blame yourself sometimes?
Of course I do. But ultimately, it was her choice. And all I can do to honor her now is to respect it.
That's cruel.
Maybe. But without cruelty, there isn't life. Don't you too send brothers and sisters into battle, Tahar? Children, fathers. You do it because ultimately, you believe the outcome will lead to a world more desirable. It was the same with Rain and me. We wanted to be shamans, Zarek's chosen, and we both paid the price.
Wow. I see.
I see.
There's one more thing. Remember when you asked me why I feel the way I do about our culture? Why I think we orcs should strive for more? It's Rain who made me realize that. Most orcs would have fought each other in that cave, to the death.
Right.
But she didn't. Instead of submitting to her primal instincts, she made a sacrifice. One that I could have made too, if I hadn't been such a coward. Blazes, it feels strange to have told you all this. But, I don't regret it.
Well,
Good.
thanks for trusting me with this, Gore.
Let me have some time for myself right now.
Or has a new skill.
I need to think.
Let's check Gore's skill. It is shapeshift into an elder tribe eater, transform into a demon with an even larger health pool and very high damage. The tribe eater continuously loses life but regenerates with each kill. Shapeshifting renders you unable to use human abilities other than auras. Its effect duration is unlimited, so he could do it and then be... Well, he's gonna lose life though. But it's unlimited time to a tribe eater. And he has no points to spend. Dang, I should have saved some. Constitution increases health, willpower increases damage. Dang, he's got 2 attribute points though. But I saved no points for any of this stuff. Let's keep talking to him.
Interesting. You said you know where we can find more allies.
Yes, I do. I'll make it short. The Ash Reavers have invaded the foot of Barga Gor. If we defeat them and their leader, like we defeated Krell, their soldiers will join us.
The Ash Reavers?
The Ash Reavers. I'm guessing that's another orc tribe.
Yes, you already met them, back at Farland's Hope. They are a very violent tribe. A lot like what Krell wanted the Fire Wielders to become. And they are nomads. They never stay in one place for more than a couple of moons, which is why their city is basically a movable fortress.
So, we head back to Barga Gor and defeat them. Sounds simple enough.
Well, yeah, except for one thing. Kagan, the Ash Reavers chieftain. I think this invasion is about more than gaining new territory. It's personal. He despises me, and that's putting it lightly.
Why? Because you killed Krell?
No, it's more complicated than that. Do you remember the story about my trial? About Rain?
Yeah, I do. You took the Shapeshifter's trial together, and she sacrificed herself so that you could live.
Yeah, she did. To get to the point, Kagan is Rain's true brother. To this day, he thinks that I killed her.
Wow.
Did you ever try to tell him the true story?
We only met once. And yes, I did try to talk to him. It ended in a fight which I won. That disgrace only added to his hatred. And truth be told, that was my last attempt to convince him. I knew it was fruitless. Our tribes lived weeks of journey from each other. And, well, the memory of Rain's sacrifice is painful enough for me as it is. I just wanted it buried, somewhere in the dark corners of my mind where I'd never have to face it again. Which, as you can guess, didn't work. I still have nightmares.
Oh.
I see. And that's why he invaded Barga Gor.
It must be. Bloodthirsty as the Ash Reavers are, there is no reason for them to start a war with the Fire Wielders, especially now that we unify them. He must have heard that I'm behind this, and that rekindled his hatred for me. In other words, we need to stop him, and as fast as possible. According to one of my sources, the Purity is also planning to start an attack on Barga Gor. The Fire Wielders should be able to hold them at bay, but not if they have to wage war against the Ash Reavers at the same time.
Why is the Purity attacking Barga Gor?
Isn't it obvious? To eradicate us. Just like the Dark Elves, we Orcs are a creation of the renegade gods. So we aren't even given the chance to repent. The Kane's war doesn't stop in Northander, Tahar. He plans to take on the entire world.
But that's crazy. He must know he can't win this.
Does he? He's a fanatic. He thinks Aeonir is acting through him. I promise you this, Tahar. Even the moment your blade is at his throat, he'll think he can still win. He has completely lost his grip on reality.
So what's the plan? Return to Barga Gor, drive back the Ash Reavers, and kill Kagan?
If all else fails, yes. We will kill him. For the sake of my people, and for our cause. But he's Rain's last living kin. So I want to first try reasoning with him instead. There must be a way to convince him that I'm not a liar, that I didn't kill his sister.
All right. I'll tell you when we head out.
Yes. Chieftain Czar already left before you woke up to get an idea of the situation. I know time is sparse, but we should leave as soon as possible. And thank you, Tahar. I appreciate it.
So more content on the overworld map.
Yes? Looking for some orcish craftsmanship?
Okay, Orcus craftsmanship. He's got two-headed axe called Flaming Great Axe. Trigger spell, 56 damage against enemy creatures. Well, that's with my strength, which is not that high. But if we were to give it to Isgrim, he would do a lot more damage with it. That gets rid of his shield. Mentor's heavy plate armor. Then there's Zarek Steel 3 orcs. Zarek Steel 2, all orcish units except for goblins gain increased resistances. Orcish units with the exception of goblins gain increased attack power. And that's number 2, Fight for the Cow. 2 and 3. We have 1. We have 5,500 left. Gain increased resistances, increased attack power. Let's get number 2, I guess. We're gonna have to use the orcs probably. And we might want to sell like Maneater. Watch out, boy, it'll chew you up. All in Oats reference. Sell this with sacrificial daggers. We should sell some of this stuff. I just keep it just in case, and plus some of it is named. And this stuff up here is epic. Draconid axe. Okay, we'll just take 2,000. And that's good. We'll use that orcish human infantryman. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. Fight for the cow, bong bong, because we're probably gonna have to use orcs in order to do that quest. Let's see how long we've been playing. Fight for the cow. 57 minutes. Wow, so we've got to wrap it up. I want to thank you for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's content, being all lore and story and stuff.
Zalraka, what do you need?
So, appreciate it.
I want to train the fire.
Like, comment,
All right.
subscribe.
Here's what we can do.
If you like what you see and you want to see more. Also, guys, if you want to be a huge help, you could become a member. Information and stuff is in the description of this video, along with links. Feel free to check that out if you're interested. A lot of stuff going on here. Increase population. Increase your max population. Improve stone, improve population. All sorts of stuff. So, hope to see you next time, guys. And shout out to my three members. Because of you guys, I'm able to get an indie game each month, which is awesome. With your monetary donations, feel free to check that out. If not, it's cool too. And we'll check this game out more next time. Hit this other question mark, and I guess get back out there. We have a ton of quests to do, all on the world map. So the world map may be different. I don't know, but successful episode 69. Until next time, guys. Be well, live well, stay well. Much love, peace, and joy. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Ciao for now.